Hello, we're back at Leicester. Last time we were here, England were playing the West Indies. Today, it's the start of the Women's Ashes, and honestly, Sid, it really does feel like the whole summer we've just been building up to this as the main event. Are you excited?
Yeah, definitely, and I think there's a different atmosphere around. There's a lot more people here. Sky are putting on the full caboodle. They'll have all their gizmos and devices and things. You can see there's a lot more Sky vans here. They're not just doing the basic coverage, so it feels exciting, and I'm sure the players are going to feel a definite buzz when they walk in as well. They'll be coming in over the next couple of hours. We just ran into Robbo. He said good morning, and hopefully it will be a good morning and a good day for England.
Well, let's wait and see. But one thing that is also a little bit different from what we've had over the last couple of weeks is that the sun's shining, so that's great. So, Women's Ashes, we're excited. I wrote in my preview for The Guardian, actually, that this is now the pinnacle for women's cricket. It's bigger than the World Cup. And I did have a little bit of comeback about that. So on Twitter, I had a tweet through this morning that said, "How can it be the pinnacle? The pinnacle of any sport is something that anyone competing in it can achieve, not just competitors from two particular countries." So what do you think about this, Sid?
Well, I think you do understand the point in a way, but at the end of the day, this is the toughest competition in women's cricket, and this is the hardest thing to win. If you talk to all the players, this is the thing that they say is the toughest competition. England and Australia are without doubt the best two sides in the world. I don't think even India, in their brightest moments, would attempt to say at the moment that they're part of that top two. And it's going to be an incredibly hard thing to win, and so in that sense I think it is the pinnacle in terms of the toughness of the competition.
Yeah, sure, and I think that is part of the point I was making, which is that indisputably England and Australia are the two best sides in the world, and therefore in a way it's kind of a bit irrelevant that there aren't lots of other sides around also competing for the trophy, because we know that these are the top two sides. So that's my defence. I guess people will keep debating it, so it's interesting, but anyway, we're excited for the Ashes. What do we think about the side today? What do we think in terms of England perspective? Do you think there'll be any surprises out there on the field today, Sid?
Well, at the end of the day, there were no surprises in the squad that England has selected, so that there are not going to be any big surprises in the team. We're obviously not going to see any new caps or anything like that. It's a very, very experienced team, and Sophie Eccleston obviously is the only person in that team that you're going to call a youngster, I guess, and even she's a fairly experienced player now. So it's an experienced, established English team. I think the only real question from England's perspective is, do they drop Danny Wyatt for Fran Wilson? So Danny Wyatt's played, in the 3 ODIs against the West Indies, batting down the order. Didn't make a great success of it. Then the one opportunity she had in the T20, she did really well. She was player of the match, player of the series, the one-match series as it turned out. And it's going to be a big dilemma for Mark Robinson, I think. Have you have any feelings about what he might do there, Raf?
Well, I mean, Fran top scored, didn't she, in the match against Australia A? Was it Australia A or Australia? Anyway, she made 91 in one of the warm-up matches. I think that's the key point, which is the leading score by any of the other England batsmen. So, in a way, you go, well, can she really stick her hand up any higher than that? I suppose she could have gone on and made a century, but you get the point that I'm making. I suppose it's possible that they might decide that they want to go with a longer batting lineup and play Fran and Danny Wyatt, and then potentially you go, okay, well we won't play Laura Marsh because we've got Sophie Eccleston, and we've got our 3 frontline seamers. But then again, you are kind of relying on Nat Siver and Heather Knight to bowl 10 overs between them then in that scenario. So anyway, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, my feeling is that he won't drop Danny Wyatt. I think that her position is safe at least for this match. And although Fran has been in fantastic form, I think that he'll be more concerned about the potential impact psychologically on Danny Wyatt in terms of her form coming into the T20s at the end of it, when there hopefully will still be everything to play for. And so I think that he's going to stick, and I think we're going to see the same side right now that we saw in the first ODI against the West Indies. That's what I feel.
Okay, and then from an Australian perspective, they've got probably even more of a settled side than England have. The big question today is probably going to be, are they going to play Taylor Fleming, who's this 20-year-old fast bowler? Could be an interesting one there. Any thoughts on that, Sid?
Well, I just don't know the answer to this, to be honest. I think that Australia do have a little bit of a problem trying to find, an extra bowler, and they've been through lots of different options in the last 3 or 4 years. They've obviously got their frontline seam attack. Megan Shute and Elise Perrier are going to get into any side in the world. But exactly who backs them up, who comes on in the changes, they've kind of tinkered with a lot. We'll no doubt see more tinkering during this tour. One thing that I will say, I think, is that I don't think we'll see the same bowling attack from Australia in every match. I think they will mix up those options. Whereas I think that barring injuries, there's a very good chance we'll see exactly the same bowling attack from England for all 3 ODIs, certainly.
Yeah, probably right. So in terms of settled side, then maybe England have got the edge slightly. But in terms of who overall we think's going to win the series, I think both of us have been fairly pessimistic in our respective previews. Certainly for the Guardian, I said, well, England haven't won the Ashes since 2014, and it's only really got harder since then. Australia are now the only side in the world with a fully professional domestic setup. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough challenge for. I mean, England can certainly hope to win it. As I wrote in my preview for Cricket Her, England definitely played below themselves in the World 2020 final. They're not as bad a side as they looked that night. They're a much better side, and they're gonna be really up for this. They've had this excellent run of form coming into it. They'll feel that they can challenge Australia. But at the end of the day, if I was betting my own money on it, I would put it on Australia, I'm afraid. Sorry, England.
We're not betting on it, though. I think...
Yes, I'd like to assure the ICC that we're not betting on the outcome of this match.
I'll be absolutely flabbergasted if by the end of this week, by the end of the 3 ODIs, England's winning streak remains intact. Let's just say that. But let's see what happens on the field today.